I loved it too. I know.
Okay.
The tape is rolling. Very quiet, please. You have speed.
5, 4, 3.
Jodie, I was so pleased to know you were coming to Dallas-Fort Worth because we had a great visit when, what year was it about?
I guess it was 1980, as a matter of fact. It was right before I was going to college.
Yes, and it was Carney.
Right.
And we had a great visit, and your mom was with you. And
She still is. She's running around here somewhere.
Good. And then we just recently saw you in Stealing Home. I liked that very much, and I liked your performance a lot.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's an interesting picture because it had a lot of bad reviews, a lot of criticism, mostly because it's about real things, you know, and it's about very mundane events that shape people's lives. And I have a feeling that people were waiting for, you know, the helicopters and waiting for the big chase scene, and just not what it's about. It's not what, you know, human life is about. So they were a little disappointed in it.
I like very much your performance in this movie, The Accused. I wonder, it's a film about two women.
Mm-hmm.
Sherry Lansing was co-producer.
Right.
I wonder if it had not been a woman co-producer, if the picture would have taken an entirely different flavor.
Well, anytime you change an element of the filmmaking process, something changes, I think, you know, because it was very collaborative with everybody, you know, from producers to director to in fact, the technicians completely. But I wouldn't think so. I mean, because even though this, you know, somebody said, well, is this a feminist film? I don't really think that there are films that speak of women in terms of human beings that aren't feminist films, you know, and so, or there isn't somebody who can actually, you know, say the word woman without, you know, if they refer to it as a human being, chances are they're a feminist, you know. So I don't think that there's a bend that excludes men in this movie at all, and there is a male director and all of that, so I can't see that that would have had much difference, really. I mean, it really is it's a universal tale of human cruelty, and that's, everybody knows that. I think it's a universal thing.
For you, what was the most difficult thing about doing this film, Jodie? Because you have to be at such an emotional peak throughout the whole film.
Yeah, it was very exhausting. I mean, physically, because, you know, there's a lot of running and crying and bruises and all that, but emotionally very exhausting because she's always emotional and dealing with her emotions. She's not very articulate, so she doesn't have that sort of intellectual wheel thing going on. Basically, it's all out in the open. So I think it's the most challenging thing I've ever done for, you know, every reason under the sun.
When you would go home at night, could you turn it off?
Well, no. I mean, yes, could I turn it off? As in, I'm not in character. I mean, I don't go around going, oh, am I Sarah? Am I Jodie? Am I Sarah? You know, I don't do that. But I really couldn't talk about anything but the movie, and who cared? I didn't want to talk about anything but the movie. I mean, if I was, you know, eating breakfast, I was thinking of the movie, and if we were talking about socks, we were talking about the movie. So what ended up happening is that we got very, very isolated, and it was, you know, Jonathan Kelly and myself and the crew, and nobody else really existed, because you can't call home being so sensitive and being in this separate place where you think about these dire survival elements and listen to somebody saying, oh, well, you know, my dog did this trick today, and my friend did that, and really care. So it was, it kind of cut me off from everything, from friends and all of that.
And that was for how long?
Well, 2.5 months, but, you know, when you work on a movie, it's a lifetime, and it's a certain kind of microcosm, a thing that you'll never have again. And, you know, all those cliches about, oh, it's a family, it's a brotherhood, well, it's very true, and it's not all wonderful. I mean, a lot of it is miserable, and there are a lot of, you know, egos and whatever. But whatever it is, it's a complete experience that people keep coming back to, that influences them. And I don't think anybody on this movie, from you know, a grip to Make a Person to me or anybody, had left this movie unchanged. And I think that it spills over into the audience when they see the movie. I mean, I haven't seen anybody yet, whether they like the film or not, and everybody has really liked the film, surprisingly enough, that hasn't come away from this picture talking about it for 2 days and changed in some way.
Do you foresee a time when we will have a law, as other countries have, that deals with this kind of criminal solicitation?
Yeah, you know, I know that the legal issues are a big deal in everybody's mind here about this film, and it is certainly in Stanley and Sherry's because they're the producers, and it should be in their mind. But as an actor, it's not. It isn't something that I think about because, for me, the film is less about, and filmmaking in general is less about getting a political end or getting some kind of political legislation than it is having the integrity and the purity of narrative that deals with real people in real situations. And if there's some kind of political ramifications that come from that, that's great. But it's not the intent, and it isn't in my mind when I see the movie.
What was it like for you when you had to film the rape scene?
Well, it wasn't easy, and it was a very difficult time. And I think every thought and every emotion in the sun came into my head over those 5 days. And it's not anything you can really be prepared for. It's an experience that's unlike any other. And you can talk about it till you're blue in the face, and it doesn't mean anything unless you've been through it. But I was happy every day when I came home, which surprised me, because the work is good. The work is good and it's important, and the picture's good, so it pays off.
How long did it take to do the rape scene?
It took about 5 days, but the first 2 days is the preamble with, drinking and meeting each other and all that.
So that was a very highly charged time, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, for everybody, not just for me, but for the people behind the camera, behind the scenes, extras, and it was, I don't know, I guess it was like going into a Turkish bath with, eucalyptus or something. Your pores were open and absorbing and being so raw in a lot of ways. And I can't really explain that except to say it would be like being on a train full of people that were about to die, or some situation where you're, the building's on fire and you're all on top and you can't get down. I mean, it's a survival situation that you're not prepared for, and everybody's personalities showed themselves for who they were in a lot of ways. I mean, marriages broke up, and people couldn't eat and they couldn't sleep, and finally at the end of the last day, the crew came to the director and said, we can't do this anymore. This is enough. Don't shoot this anymore. We don't want to hear about it. And we moved on.
Well, the thing is that the film is a very special film, a very important film. And Jodie, you are fantastic in it. You really are. Just say thank you.
Thank you.
You really are. It's an extremely fine performance.
Well, thank you very much.
Good to see you. Come
Okay.
back.
All right.
Thanks.
That's a wrap.
Very
Great.
good.